The galaxy had never seen anything like it. On the bridge of Terran Command Station Omega, Admiral Mara Vance's eyes scanned the holographic displays with a precision born of decades of service. The screens flickered with images from Horizon 9, one of Earth's most distant colonies. At first, the view seemed chaotic. Dust clouds, flashes of energy, figures running, but then the patterns emerged. Lines of alien warships, sleek and cruel, moved with predatory coordination. The Valkar Dominion had arrived. Then the unthinkable happened. A live transmission cut through the comm channels, broadcast directly from the Valkar flagship orbiting Horizon 9. Across the galaxy, billions watched as their friends, colleagues, and families were slaughtered with deliberate, methodical efficiency. 9 million humans died under the cold gaze of their insectoid tormentors, executed not in secret, but as a spectacle for the galaxy. Mara's jaw tightened. She did not flinch. She had seen war before, seen horrors, but this was different. This was a statement. The Valkar believed humans could be intimidated, that fear and morality would restrain them. They had miscalculated. "Admiral," said Commander Tarek, the tactical officer beside her, voice low. "They're broadcasting across every galactic net. The colonies, they'll panic. Citizens are already calling for retaliation." Mara's eyes didn't leave the screen. Flames engulfed cities. Desperately, small defensive squads tried to repel the Valkar dropships, but there was no coordination, no chance. This was execution, theater, and propaganda in one. "They want the galaxy to see our weakness," she said quietly. Her voice was calm, precise, but every word carried the weight of ice. "Let them watch." The main view shifted. The Valkar commander appeared on screen, an enormous, segmented insectoid with translucent carapace panels reflecting the colony's burning light. Its mandibles clicked in what humans could only interpret as amusement. "People of Earth," it said, its voice a warped harmony of clicks and tones translated by subspace algorithm. "You are weak. Your colonies fall easily. We are the future. You cannot stop us. We entertain you now with the final performance of Horizon 9. Learn your place." Mara's hand clenched the edge of the command console. She could feel the adrenaline beginning to surge, the calm before the storm. "They're arrogant," she muttered. "They think we will cry. They think we will kneel." "You're sure you want to respond?" Tarek asked, a trace of hesitation in his tone. "We haven't." Mara cut him off. "We will not respond as they expect. Humanity does not react with fear. Humanity reacts with consequence." She stood, her presence commanding every officer on the bridge. "Activate Operation Black Winter. All fleets, all ready forces, all orbital stations. Prep the dreadnoughts. Prep the strike wings. For the next move, we do not negotiate. We do not warn. We do not hesitate." There was a pause, a collective intake of breath. Black Winter was not a bluff. Not anymore. Across Earth, across its orbital platforms, the transmission of the Horizon 9 massacre was being watched live. Panic, horror, and grief swept through the population, but for every human that trembled, 10 more clenched their fists. They knew one thing: Earth would not forgive. Not ever. On the bridge, Mara's gaze swept the room. Her officers understood. They had been waiting for this, trained for it, prepared for it in simulations too horrifying to describe. Humanity had learned restraint, but the galaxy had never tested patience like this. "Sir," said Communications Chief Lyra, voice tight, "we're receiving messages from allied systems. They want to join the retaliation. They fear the Valkar might come for them next." Mara's eyes narrowed. "Let them join, or let them not. The galaxy can watch what happens when a species crosses the line." She turned back to the holographic display. The Valkar commander was still talking, still streaming death like a performance. Its confidence was palpable, a belief in its own invincibility. Mara whispered almost to herself, "They killed 9 million of our people live. The audacity, the cruelty, the arrogance. A single tear slid down her cheek, but not for fear, not for loss, but for the inevitability of what would come. For the galaxy would soon understand the cost of underestimating humanity. She activated the fleet network, sending the command that had never been issued in recorded human history. One word: unleash. Across the void, the fleet stirred. From the Sol shipyards to the outermost defense perimeters, Earth's forces ignited their engines, emerging from stealth and fold drives in perfect synchrony. The first ripple of humanity's wrath would strike a Valkar outpost light years away, a demonstration of power calibrated to precision, lethality, and inevitability. In her ready room, Mara allowed herself a single thought. They thought humans were weak. They thought we would bend. They thought they could show the galaxy our death and laugh. The Admiral's hand hovered over the console, fingers brushing the activation panel. Her voice, calm and resolute, echoed through the station, transmitted to every fleet commander. Let them watch. Let the galaxy see what happens when Earth decides a species is beyond redemption. Humanity is coming. The lights of the bridge dimmed slightly, the hum of power filling the air, the screens reflecting the flames of Horizon 9-1 last time. And then, in the silence between worlds, Earth moved. The galaxy would never forget the moment a species crossed the line. The Valkar Dominion had killed 9 million humans live, but they had awakened a force they could not contain. And it was coming for them. The void between stars had never felt so alive. Every human fleet, from the Sol shipyards to the outer colonies, moved in perfect synchronization, engines glowing with the subtle hum of quantum fold drives. To an untrained eye, it might have looked like chaos, but this was humanity at its most precise. Admiral Mara Vance stood on the bridge of Dreadnought Vigilance, her figure silhouetted against a panoramic viewport showing hundreds of ships sliding silently through subspace corridors. The display flickered, revealing Valkar scouting frigates attempting to intercept them. Within minutes, they were gone, disintegrated by electromagnetic pulses so sudden, so precise, they didn't even know what hit them. "Report," Mara said, voice cold and calm, carrying the weight of command. "Tactical sweeps indicate minimal losses," said Commander Tarek. "Enemy patrols are being neutralized before they can react. We're moving on the first Valkar frontier system within 12 hours. Mara nodded, the corners of her lips tightening. "Good. Precision, efficiency, and no mercy. Humanity is not here to negotiate. Humanity is here to answer." The galaxy, until now, had underestimated humans. They had assumed that morality, hesitation, and a reluctance to escalate would define Earth's response. They had assumed wrong. Within 20 light minutes, the first strike wings emerged from the fold corridor, sleek interceptors armed with advanced plasma lances and phased torpedoes. Mara's fleet didn't just strike. They annihilated, disabling enemy warships and orbital defenses with unerring accuracy. Each Valkar vessel destroyed carried with it the silent message of inevitability. Humanity does not bluff. In the Valkar Dominion, panic spread like wildfire. High Command, the ruling hive of the insectoid species, had not anticipated retaliation, especially not on this scale. Their sensors picked up the human fleet almost simultaneously across multiple fronts. The Overlord, a massive, chitin-plated creature bristling with bio-enhanced spines, clicked in alarm. They move faster than expected," one Valkar officer stammered, mandibles clicking nervously. "The humans, they cannot." "Do not underestimate them," snapped the Overlord. "But they are humans, small, fragile. Surely they cannot wage war across such distances without error." They were wrong. Again. Back on the Vigilance, Mara studied the tactical display. Each red blip represented a Valkar fleet. Each green blip was a human ship, already in position, already calculating kill trajectories. She raised her hand, and the fleet executed a synchronized firing solution across 4 systems simultaneously. Plasma lances tore through the enemy's shields, disintegrating the outer hulls of warships in precise bursts that left no survivors. Commander Tarek exhaled, amazed. First wave complete. They didn't even know what hit them. System eradicated in 19 minutes. Good, Mara said. Make a note, 19 minutes. Let the galaxy remember. Humanity does not hesitate. News of the human strike spread faster than the plasma lances themselves. Across neighboring systems, allied species and neutral observers watched in awe. Even those who had long considered humanity primitive began to reconsider. In the heart of the Valkar Dominion, the Overlord roared, clicking and screeching through translator modules. They are precise. Too precise. How can one species? But Mara was already moving on. Her fleet had multiple objectives. Destroy command centers, disable shipyards, and dismantle the Dominion's ability to wage war. Every strike was calculated to maximize efficiency while minimizing wasted energy. Humans were not cruel, they were exacting. Their vengeance was surgical, their wrath deliberate. On board the Vigilance, Mara walked the length of the bridge, her presence radiating authority. Every officer, every pilot, every Marine felt the weight of what was coming. This was humanity unleashed, not blindly, not recklessly, but with the calculated fury of a species that had been cornered, humiliated, and insulted. "Admiral," said Communications Chief Lyra, urgency in her tone. "The Dominion is attempting a counter-broadcast. They're trying to spin Horizon 9 as a warning, a demonstration of human weakness." Mara's lips curved into a small, cold smile. "They think fear can stop us. Let them try." The counter-broadcast reached billions, showing the Valkar's frantic attempts to rally fleets, to spin propaganda, but the humans had already anticipated it. Across subspace channels, Mara's fleet sent encoded signals to allied worlds, coordinating simultaneous strikes against multiple strategic points. Systems thought safe were suddenly under fire. Command nodes disintegrated. Shipyards melted in precise plasma beams. The galaxy's perception of humanity shifted in real time, from weak, restrained, negotiable, to unstoppable, unyielding, and inevitable. In the Dominion's central hive, the Overlord realized the truth. Their arrogance, their belief that humans could be intimidated or reasoned with, had been their greatest mistake. Humanity had responded not with fear, not with diplomacy, not with negotiation, but with absolute consequence. Mara watched the tactical displays, her mind already 3 steps ahead. Every Valkar fleet intercepted, every system neutralized, every orbital defense vaporized, brought them closer to the inevitable confrontation, the heart of the Dominion itself. She raised her hand, addressing her officers for the first time in a moment of rare visible emotion. They thought Earth would cry. They thought humanity would kneel. They were wrong. Always wrong. Remember this, as we move deeper into their territory, we do not forgive. We do not forget. We do not falter. Humanity is coming. In the void between stars, where the echoes of plasma fire and destruction drifted endlessly, the galaxy began to whisper the name of Earth with a new reverence and a new fear. Humanity had been cornered, humiliated, and tested. And now, finally, humanity was unleashed. And there would be no mercy for the Valkar. The Valkar Dominion had never felt fear. Not real fear. Not until now. Deep within the heart of the Dominion, the Overlord's hive-mind citadel pulsed with an eerie bioluminescence, massive spires spiraling like the skeleton of some ancient, cosmic insect. Each chamber hummed with the synchronized life of millions of Valkar. For centuries, this hive had been untouchable, a fortress of living architecture and relentless war machines. Now, alarms blared as sensors detected human infiltration, not a fleet, not a bombardment, but elite forces moving unseen through biotunnels, bypassing defenses thought impossible to breach. Admiral Mara Vance watched the schematics on her bridge. Her fleet was already hammering outer defenses from orbit, but this was the pivotal moment. Humanity did not simply destroy, humanity struck at the heart. "Marine Units Alpha through Delta," she said, voice precise, cold, and unwavering, "deploy now. Infiltrate the Citadel. Locate the Overmind and neutralize command protocols. Make it clean. Make it fast. Make it unforgettable." On the ground, human forces advanced with silent precision. Mara's best Marines, exosuits shimmering with adaptive camo, weapons pulsing with phased plasma, slid through biotunnels carved into the living structures of the hive. Valkar sentries, massive and armed with biolances, patrolled the corridors, but humans were ghosts, moving faster than the alien reflexes could track. "Team Alpha to command," said Captain Riavas, leading the first squad. Her voice was calm, steady. "Entry point secure. Proceeding to neural nexus." The hive itself reacted, muscles and exoskeleton shifting unnaturally, trying to crush the intruders with sudden walls, acidic traps, and biological defense mechanisms. Each challenge was met with ruthless efficiency. Plasma grenades, magnetic grapplers, and nanoweave blades dismantled every obstacle with lethal elegance. Meanwhile, in orbit, Mara's fleet engaged the Dominion's remaining ships in a systematic slaughter. Valkar dreadnoughts attempted to break through, only to be shredded by coordinated railgun salvos and precision torpedo strike. Humanity's vengeance was surgical. Each strike eliminated not just a threat, but the illusion of invincibility that the Valkar had long cherished. Deep in the hive, the Overlord's senses registered the intruders. Mandibles clicking in disbelief, the Overlord convened its council. "Humans, they breached the Citadel. Impossible. All units, neutralize them. Use the neural lattice. Crush their minds." Yet the humans were prepared. Mara's Marines had brought neuroblockers, disrupting hive mind connections. For every psychic attack the Valkar unleashed, the humans countered, turning the Dominion's own mental defenses into a trap. Captain Voss reached the neural nexus, a pulsing crystalline core connected to millions of Valkar mind. With a swift sequence, she planted a series of nanotech disruptors, devices designed to sever hive mind connections, fragment coordination, and destabilize the entire Citadel. "Disruptors armed," she reported. "Awaiting detonation." "Proceed." Mara's voice came over secure comm. The devices activated, sending ripples through the hive. The bioluminescent spires flickered violently as millions of Valkar fell into disarray. The Overlord screamed in a harmony of clicks and tones that made human eardrums strain, realizing too late that their species' greatest strength, the hive mind, was now their undoing. Outside, orbital bombardments intensified. Mara's dreadnoughts unleashed full arrays of plasma lances and gravitic warheads. Valkar warships, now uncoordinated, were destroyed in rapid succession. Each explosion resonated through the hive's organic structure, destabilizing it further. The Overlord, realizing the magnitude of its failure, attempted one final desperate gambit, a massive psychic pulse designed to wipe intruders from existence. But the human Marines had anticipated this, deploying psychic dampeners and temporal shields that reflected the pulse back into the Citadel itself. The resulting feedback fractured the hive core, sending cascading destruction through its chambers. Captain Voss signaled, "Core compromised. Evacuating remaining units." Back on the bridge, Mara watched the collapse unfold. Her expression was unreadable, but inside, satisfaction burned, not for cruelty, but for justice. The Valkar had thought humans weak, restrained, predictable. They had been none of those things. Communications Chief Lyra reported incoming transmissions from the remaining Valkar leadership. They begged for terms, for surrender, for mercy. Mara's hand rested on the console. She allowed herself a single word. No. The hive continued to crumble, spires collapsing like towers of glass, tunnels imploding, the screams of millions echoing into the void. Mara knew this was only the beginning. The species that had dared broadcast the slaughter of 9 million humans live would pay the ultimate price. "Admiral," Tarek said, voice heavy with awe, they can't rebuild. Their species. It's broken. Mara's eyes remained on the display, the flickering remnants of the hive reflected in her gaze. Broken? No. Destroyed. Completely. Humanity does not tolerate mass murder. We do not negotiate with extinctionists. Across the galaxy, systems that had doubted Earth's resolve now witnessed the devastating precision of human warfare. Where the Valkar had projected arrogance, humans projected inevitability. Where the Valkar had relied on fear, humans relied on consequence. Mara Vance leaned forward, scanning the tactical display. Beyond the hive lay the Valkar homeworld, a fortress, yes, but nothing that could withstand the full might of humanity's retribution. She allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. They killed 9 million of our people, she whispered, almost to herself. And now the galaxy will watch how the humans repay that debt. The first cracks of the Valkar dominion were visible to all. Their arrogance had been shattered, their coordination broken, their future uncertain. Humanity's war was only beginning, but the message was already clear. The Valkar had assumed humans would be weak. They had assumed wrong. And from the heart of the hive, a new truth would echo across the stars. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. Humanity wins. The Valkar homeworld loomed ahead like a black jewel, suspended in a field of orbiting debris and shattered satellite. Its surface was covered with jagged, organic spires and layered fortifications, an alien city alive with pulsating energy. But to Admiral Mara Vance, it was nothing more than the final target. Every orbital defense, every superstructure, every psychic conduit would fall. Humanity had learned restraint, but restraint had ended the day horizon. 9 burned. Status report, Mara said, standing on the bridge of Dreadnought Vigilance, her silhouette framed by the stars. Tactical grid confirms all outer perimeter defenses are neutralized, Commander Tarek replied. We have full orbital clearance. Ingress for strike teams is optimal. Planetary shields are holding, for now. Mara's lips curved into a small, grim smile. Then we proceed. Initiate the extermination vector. The fleet advanced with terrifying precision. Human dreadnoughts, carriers, and cruisers cut through subspace corridors and emerged above the planet in perfect formation. Plasma lances and graviton disruptors primed, strike wings deployed. This was Operation Black Winter in full. The galaxy had never seen humans unleash fury on this scale. Below, in the twisting biocities of the Valkar, the overlords screamed in disbelief. Mandibles snapped, psychic pulses flared, and genetically engineered shock troops scrambled in vain. The humans did not hesitate. The assault was surgical, devastating, absolute. Orbital bombardment began. Plasma lances sliced through fortified spires, leaving molten tracks across alien surfaces. Gravity warheads detonated inside psychic conduits, collapsing them with the force of a small moon. Valkar warships, forced to defend their homeworld, were obliterated one by precise railgun volleys. Every move was calculated, lethal, inevitable. Strike teams deploy, Mara ordered. No mercy. No survivors. Eradicate their breeding chambers, their command structures, and the Overmind's central nexus. Human marine units, clad in adaptive exosuits and armed with plasma rifles and nanotech explosives, descended from orbit in orbital drop pods. They cut through Valkar patrols, advanced through biotunnels, and reached breeding facilities. Every chamber they entered was neutralized, every larval pod destroyed. The Valkar overlord's screams echoed through the comm channels as it realized the horror unfolding beneath its feet. Captain Ria Voss, leading the strike on the Overmind's core, reported, "We're inside the central nexus. Neural interface disrupted. Overmind is destabilizing." "Good," Mara said. Her eyes narrowed on the tactical display. "Push harder. We do not stop until their species is no more. Humanity does not negotiate with extinctionists." Massive explosions ripped through the planetary surface, creating shock waves that rocked orbiting vessels. The Valkyr scrambled in desperation, but their hive-mind coordination had collapsed. Panic replaced strategy. Ships collided. Fortresses crumbled. The Overlord's psychic attacks ricocheted harmlessly against human shields. On the Bridge of Vigilance, Mara's gaze was unflinching. This was justice. This was consequence. Humanity did not seek revenge for vengeance's sake. They sought to prevent it from ever happening again. The Valkyr had broadcast the murder of 9 million humans live, a spectacle meant to terrify the galaxy. Humanity had responded not with terror, but with inevitability. The Overlord, now fragmented, attempted a final act of desperation, a planetary self-destruct sequence designed to obliterate the invading humans along with the homeworld. Mara anticipated it. With a single command, orbiting dreadnoughts fired synchronized graviton torpedoes, destabilizing the planet's core. The self-destruct failed. The sequence triggered early, vaporizing the Overlord and the last remaining Valkyr within moments. Planetary status? Mara asked, voice calm. Confirmed, Tarek replied, awe and relief mixing in his tone. Extinction complete. No signs of surviving Valkyr life. A silence fell across the fleet. Even the stars seemed to pause, bearing witness to the scale of humanity's wrath. Mara allowed herself a single breath of relief. Justice had been served, not blindly, not cruelly, but decisively. She activated a subspace broadcast. Across the galaxy, every species could hear the message from Earth. Human lives are not currency. Let this be remembered. Let this be understood. Humanity does not negotiate with extinctionists. The message was simple, direct, and terrifyingly clear. Every system that had doubted Earth's resolve now reconsidered their stance. Every empire that had underestimated humanity's capacity for justice would remember the lesson for centuries. Mara turned to her officers, her voice steady, commanding, yet carrying the weight of what they had just accomplished. They believed they could show the galaxy our weakness. They were wrong. They believed they could survive the consequences. They were wrong. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. Humanity prevails. The fleet remained in orbit, a silent testament to the scale of their victory. Mara watched as the first signs of orbital reclamation began. The galaxy had been warned. Humanity had crossed a line, and there was no turning back. Set course for home, Mara ordered. Let the galaxy witness the return of a species that was tested and found stronger than any could imagine. Let Earth stand as a reminder, never provoke humanity. The Valkyr homeworld was no more. Its species had been erased, its empire shattered, and its arrogance reduced to ash. Humanity had proven the unthinkable, that a species cornered, humiliated, and threatened could rise, not with terror, but with precision, resolve, and unyielding justice. And across the stars, one truth would echo forever. The void was quiet, but it was not calm. Not really. 100 kilometers away, the Imperial dreadnoughts drifted like broken monuments, engines sputtering, shields fractured, systems offline. High Marshal Carvioti's flagship barely maintained orbit, its once proud crest dim and flickering. Captain Rhea Solis stood on the bridge of Terran Valor, hands resting lightly on the console, watching. The battle was over, but the lesson was only beginning. Captain, Mara said softly, are we done? Rhea shook her head slowly. Not done. We've survived, yes. We've beaten them, technically. But the point isn't victory. It's understanding. Understanding. Torval echoed, puzzled. Rhea leaned forward. The galaxy believes it can intimidate humans. It cannot. The Empire brought terror, doctrine, superweapons. They thought we'd crumble. But fear is useless against a species that laughs in the void. From the flanks, Blackwater ships performed one final synchronized maneuver. They leapt, disappeared, and reappeared in a perfect formation behind the remaining Imperial dreadnoughts. Not a shot fired. Not a casualty. Just silent, absolute dominance. Carvioti's hollow image appeared on the comms, crest dimmed, wings lowered. His voice was low, reverent in a way that bordered on defeat. Human, you have proven incomprehensible. Rhea's lips curved into a small smile. High Marshal, you tried to intimidate us with history, with size, with fear. None of it worked. And now you know why humans are human. He hesitated. The pause stretched across seconds that felt like years. Then, softly, I will withdraw. But know this, we will remember. Of course, Rhea said. Calm. Controlled. Human. We always remember. But we also forgive. Sometimes. The Imperial fleet began a slow, disorganized retreat. Dreadnoughts collided with minor course miscalculations, psi-emitters flickered uselessly, and officers stared at their screens in disbelief. Torval whispered, still staring. They're leaving without firing a single lethal shot at us. Exactly, Rhea said. And that, Ensign, is how humans win wars. The bridge crew broke into quiet laughter, relief and joy echoing through the corridors. Not the mocking laughter from before. Not nervous chuckles. This was triumph. Hard-won, clear, uncompromising. Rhea turned her gaze to the stars. Across the void, the Blackwater fleet shimmered in jagged perfection, a silent, deadly testament to human ingenuity and resilience. Mara tilted her head. Captain, do you think this will change the galaxy? Rhea's gray eyes glimmered. It already has. Word will spread. Other empires will hear about this. About what humans do when faced with annihilation. About how we fight, adapt, and laugh at death itself. Torval swallowed. Do you think they'll attack again? Rhea shook her head. Maybe. But they'll think twice. Not because they fear destruction, but because they finally understand they cannot predict us. Across comms, an unexpected signal arrived. A formal request from a previously neutral system, extending an invitation for diplomacy. Rhea smirked. Looks like humans are already consulting the galaxy on psychological warfare. Funny how that works. The Terran fleet adjusted course back toward Republic space. Systems hummed normally again, the glow of distant stars restoring a sense of order. But Rhea knew the galaxy had shifted irrevocably. Every empire, every fleet, every council would now think twice before underestimating humanity. Ensign Torval finally spoke, a small grin breaking across his face. Captain, I still can't believe we just laughed the Empire off. Rhea chuckled softly. Don't get cocky, Ensign. We didn't laugh them off. We reminded them why humans are impossible to intimidate. Mara leaned back, exhaustion and exhilaration mingling in her expression. And our friends, the Blackwater fleet, they were incredible. They always are, Rhea said. Sometimes the galaxy needs a reminder that humans are not defined by size or technology. We are defined by spirit, ingenuity, and, most importantly, our refusal to bow to fear. The crew laughed quietly again, but this time it was light, joyous, triumphant. Laughter echoed through the corridors, through the void, through the galaxy. It was a human sound, impossible to replicate, impossible to intimidate. In the distance, the last of the Imperial ships blinked out of the system, retreating to lick their wounds and reconsider centuries of arrogance. Rhea stood at the viewport for a long moment, watching the stars settle into their familiar patterns. She allowed herself a private thought. The galaxy had seen humanity. And it had changed. Her communicator beeped softly. A message from Admiral Reeve. Well done, Captain. The galaxy won't forget this. Rhea smiled faintly. Nor will we. She turned back to her crew. Set course for home. Debrief and repairs. And let's keep laughing. It suits us. The Terran fleet slipped into warp, Blackwater ships folding neatly into formation behind them, guardians and shadows both. The Empire would rebuild, but the lesson had been carved into history. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not fear extinction. Humans adapt, innovate, and laugh, and in that laughter lay power beyond measure. The galaxy would remember. And for the first time, it truly understood why humans were impossible to intimidate. Rhea exhaled. Calm, collected, triumphant. "Welcome back to the stars, crew," she said. "And welcome to humanity's galaxy." And somewhere deep in the void, the sound echoed, not through speakers or sensors, but as a vibration of the human spirit itself.